Hey, so here we are back again. This time we're going to take a look at making a field mandatory on your own project. This is a question we often get asked with custom fields. People want to make them mandatory within Jira so that people have to fill them in before they move the tickets. But the trouble is, if you make the field mandatory in the Jira setup, it will be mandatory for every single project in the whole Jira instance. So we absolutely do not want that to happen. But happily, there absolutely is a very simple way to make it mandatory for your own project. So if you have a field that you want everybody to fill in within your own project, it's really quite simple to do that. We go down the left-hand side here to project settings and wait for it to load. And go to workflows, and this is where we're going to put a validator on. So it's not really making the field mandatory, but because we're going to add a validator to the field, that will in effect make it mandatory. So here's your simplified workflow. If we look at that as a diagram, we can see here this is a very simple diagram for our workflow for this project. Oh, and I can't seem to shut that. Is my video? Oh, good, my videos. I'll just pop the video up there. There you go. So we close that. So we want to edit this. So the actions over here, we're going to edit our workflow. So you press that little pen over here under actions, just a single click on that little pencil. And here we go. Now we can edit our workflow. So here is our workflow. So if we want to put the validation on tickets going to in progress, for example, so if we can click on this, we click on the little arrow going from all to in progress, and over here, the video's in the way again, over here we can see a list of things that we can do on that transition. So we click on validators, there are none set at the moment, we click on the validators here. No input parameter checks will be done, so at the moment there are none. We can click down here on add validator and just check that we have the right transition here. So this is the in progress transition, which is the correct one. So we add the validator, we just click on that button there. And this will give us all the options that we can add. So if you click on this one, field required validator, field must not be empty during the transition. So that's the one we want, right? We want to make that, that validator. So we select that one and add it. And then in the next step, here we go, we find the one that we want. So for this demonstration, I'm going to add the work type eng. So you click on that, click on work type eng. Do not forget to press this add button here. Click on that and it'll put it over here in the required fields. It's not enough just to highlight it. You must click on that add button. It won't go over to here and you won't get your field validated. So do remember to add it. I have been caught there myself. And you can put error message, which is optional, but it's quite helpful. So let's just pop this error message in, which will say, please select a value for work type eng before continuing. So if the user tries to move a ticket into in progress without this field being filled in, this is the error message that they will get. So there we are. We've got our work type eng in the required fields and our error message here, and we say add, click the button there, and it should now show up in our, here we go, we look at the validators here and it has indeed been added. So let's go back to our project and see if that worked. And I'm going to be very disappointed if I can do this. So stars number 4, that's currently in to do, so we're going to move that to in progress. It doesn't have the field filled in, so I'm going to try and move it. And it moves. So, as you can see, that did allow us to move it. Okay, I forgot one simple step, and there you go. That's how easy it is to do it. Okay, so what did we do wrong here? We go back to project settings, because obviously it should not have allowed me to move it to in progress there. So we move back to project settings and back to workflows. And I think the problem is that we forgot to save the new workflow. So we saved the validation into the workflow, but every time you change a workflow, you must save it as a workflow as well. So we'll go back into edit of our workflow here. And yes, here we go. You are editing a draft, so it hasn't published the changes. So down here, this is the one that we added to. As you can see, if I click on the transition here between all and in progress, there is now a validator showing. We'll just click on that just to make sure that it's the one we wanted. And yes, there is our validator there. So that's all good. And the one thing we missed here, we didn't publish our workflow. So you are editing a draft workflow. Click on Publish Draft, very important. You can save a backup copy. This is really very useful if you're sharing workflows between projects, or if you've got no idea what you're doing with workflows and you're scared you'll break something, which is very easy to do. I would suggest that you always save a backup copy of your workflow here. So click yes to save a backup copy. Give it a backup workflow name. So it's copy of software simplified workflow for project stars. So that's the project that we're working on. So we'll just publish that, and that has now published. There you go. The draft workflow is now active. See a little message up in the top right corner here, which has now vanished. So now it should work. Let's try again. So we'll click back to our board here. We've made that change on our workflow now. Let's try and move this ticket again. New transport console in transporter room 3. It should not move across to in progress now that we have our validator on there. So I'm just going to drop it in progress. And hooray, there you go. Fantastic. So down here in the bottom left corner, issue stars 6 couldn't be moved. Please select a value for work type eng before continuing. So it has indeed fixed our problem. So if we just open that ticket up, and here's our field, work type eng, we just pop a value in that, and that's our field now set. So now it should, if we try and move it again now, we'll move it across to in progress, and there you go. Now it moves. So it's very simple, very easy, but do remember to push that publish button on your draft workflow. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.